Hey everybody, welcome to the Love Seat. This is Steffi Starr, of course, here with my girl Dana Sardano. We are here to talk about something that's been on Dana's mind today, so I'm going to do a little intro. I am a spirit plant facilitator. I operate a spirit plant church where we help people navigate the terrain of their subconscious, of their higher self through the use of the molecules in nature that have arrived for our evolution and enlightenment. So that's what I do. And I'll let Dana tell you what she does, and then I can't wait to hear what she has to say today.
Hi, I'm Dana Sardano. I am owner of Ubuntu Fish Gallery, a resident artist. We're in Stuart, Florida. Here at Ubuntu Fish Gallery, we not only create art, but we offer workshops that help people with personal growth. There's some metaphysical stuff. There's some actual being creative workshops. We have spiritual readings. We do all sorts of events. We have some really cool stuff going on here. Yeah. And when the doors reopen, we would love you to come and join us.
See.
With that said, today I want to talk about Facebook. Now, that was all like, but when we walked in today, I said, yeah, I want to talk about Facebook. That was all I told her. And then I was like, Steffi, you'll be good. Because Steffi has her opinions on Facebook. But this is really more about an epiphany I had about myself through Facebook. And I just wanted to share that with you guys. So for me, and as you guys know, because probably everybody who's watching this has either been on Facebook or is on Facebook or knows somebody on Facebook and so on and so forth. But everybody uses Facebook differently for whatever their needs are. You know, some people, it's to put pictures of their kids so their parents, 1,000 miles away could see them. Some people, it's because they need interaction that they may not get on whatever. I'm not going to get into all the ways we use Facebook. We know, okay? I like to use Facebook for a couple things. One, obviously, to promote my business. I always need to shamelessly promote my artwork. I also think it's good for fart jokes, cat videos. That was actually the courting with me and my husband.
Okay.
Oh, it was all cat videos, and then he blocked me for a while, and whatever. And the romance is still going strong.
Same
but yeah, and bragging about my kids, whatever it is, right? So I try not to pontificate on Facebook, telling everybody how they should live their lives and how things should be. It's just something that I prefer not to do. I try not to post or get involved in political conversation because what's the point? It's like if you're sharing your opinion and people agree with your opinion, then you've taught nobody nothing.
Yeah, double negative. We knew what that meant.
We knew what you meant. And if you don't agree with me, you don't want to hear what I have to say anyway. You just want to argue with me. So I try to avoid any sort of conflict or strife on Facebook. There's been many times that I've seen people write things and I've started to comment. I'm like, I don't even want to be involved in that thread. And really, and if you know me and you're seeing this, I'm really lighthearted. To talk about stupid things that are going on in my life. Okay. With that said, recently I saw a video of basically doctors talking about the coronavirus. I'm not going to recap the whole video. And I found it to be very much in alignment with my perspective of what's going on with the coronavirus. And typically, I would not post something like that, but I did. So I posted it, and somebody that I knew from years ago commented on it. And it was a lot of what I heard from her. There was a lot of fear. Right? Mm-hmm. There was a lot of, but I fear this, but would have been this, and really kind of going down the rabbit hole on both sides of all, the conspiracy theories. And I think I responded. I was in a place where maybe a place of impatience or a place of doing something else or what it was, or normally I wouldn't even respond. But I basically, I kind of did a little back and forth with her, like now I'm caught up. And then I just said, well, I fear nothing. Right? And I know how it came across.
Oh,
and she made a lovely comment back about my insensibility, and then I left it at that, right? Yeah, it was insensitive. For sure it was insensitive, but I was kind of like...
But it's also you speaking your truth. I had to throw that
out there.
But she does live a fearless life. I've watched her do it.
Yeah, and...
It's not a brag. This is how I live.
Thank you. I appreciate you having my back, because it gets worse after this.
Yeah, I'm sure it does.
Yeah.
This is why I'm sitting here biting my tongue trying to be good, as you requested.
So that happened, and that was nothing, you know, and I just kind of left it at that, right? But it was a reminder to me, like, why do I engage? Like, people have their own opinions, everybody wants to express their opinions, and I just want to post cat videos and make fart jokes. That's it, right? Okay. So then somebody who I don't know personally, you know, knows this one through this one through this one, commented on what I had said and did like a 3 or 4 or 5 paragraph dissertation. And I will tell you what I know about this person. I know that he's highly intelligent. I know that he's got a wicked sense of humor because I've seen enough of his stuff. I know that I'm quite impressed by his, you know, intellectual ability and his ability to articulate himself, like all of that. But there's also that looking for a fight, looking to argue, and I don't care to do that. So what happened was I saw it and I read it and I got hot, right? And when I saw it, I had a couple options. Like, fight or flight, right? A couple options. One is to respond in kind, right? And I'm a bit of a wordsmith. I could go off. To ignore completely. But what I did was I deleted it, right? And I deleted it, and I was like deleting it because I don't want any of that negativity in my airspace. And that's how I choose to live my life. I've deleted relationships, I've deleted, you know, situations. I didn't want it in my airspace. And then I went about my day, and it kept coming into, you know, to my brain space. And I will spare you what it took to process it. It was even in my dream state I processed it as well. You know, if you've heard me talk, my dreams are crazy telling. But I woke up the next morning and I realized something about myself. I realized that I worked in education for 25 years. And in education, I fought for what I believed was right. And I fought against a lot of fear-based thinking. And even though I believed in what I did and I loved what I did, I was in the 9 to 5. Like, I was in that mentality. I was in that, even though I was fighting against it. I always joke that I was the pig people. I don't know if you saw the Twilight Zone video, but I'm like, am I the only one who sees this, right? And I did that for many, many years, fighting against. And it wasn't just in my career. It was in all aspects of my life. And then the pendulum for me, when I started painting, which was going back to 2015, from somewhere around 2016, when I was now immersed as an artist, right? The pendulum swung all the way to the other side, where I quit that job. I moved out into the woods. I removed myself from toxic relationships. So I went from being immersed in the fight to completely
transcending it.
Yeah, and just and really, really insulating myself and my family in a way, and surrounding myself with Unicorns Exhibit A, right? And don't often get involved in that sort of discourse. I don't often get involved in that sort of confrontation. So what I did was, when it was in my face, I treated it like a fireball and I deleted it. And when I had time to process, I realized that that's not healthy either. To be so immersed in it, not healthy. To be completely, like, I'm like Bubble Girl. Like, I'm like in a bubble, right? It's not good either. I have to be able to navigate things that are uncomfortable for me also. And somebody told me this a long time ago. I was asking for somebody for advice when I first got together with my husband, because we're both feisty, both Italian, both mouthy, and there was a lot of friction. And I was like, how do I keep myself from killing him? And
it's a good question.
I'm like, I don't want to fight with him, but I want to fucking kill him. And she was like, first thing you want to do is learn how to control yourself when you want to kill him. And then once you're able to do that, the next step is not to even want to kill him, right?
Good advice.
So, yeah, and to not be triggered and to realize what it is about you. And I did a lot of work on myself to realize that any reaction to him is really all about me. So I really, really learned to, when there is potential for friction between Rob and me. when there's potential for friction between the two of us, I catch myself now. Not only do I, sometimes I fight with him, I'm not going to lie, but do I not go there, but I don't even get triggered. To the point where in the beginning, he was like confused. I would just smile and he would be like, oh, what does that mean? I'm like, I'm loving you. Oh yeah, sure. And I'm like, do you not understand? I'm not fighting with you. So he really had to like figure out what was going on. Anyway, I digress. The point is it's not just enough to be angry and not act on it. Then the next step is to be in a place where you don't even get angry anymore. And what I learned from this situation on Facebook was I got so triggered because I've washed my hands so much and Purelled so much and totally sanitized myself so much in my bubble out in the country that I don't even know how to react to somebody who disagrees with me. And he was a little bit aggressive. Like, he was accusatory and called me insensitive. What about this? And what about this? But when I had time to breathe, I realized he was just being the smart, the well-educated, the well-informed, the literate person that he was in sharing his opinion. And it was not personal.
Right.
He was just being who he was. He was just as I expressed, he was expressing. And I just, because it wasn't all fluffy unicorns and butterflies, I got all freaked out by it. So my takeaway was there's somewhere in the middle where I could not only not kill him, but I could not want to kill him. And if he is watching this, because I deleted, because then I just deleted the whole post, because then I don't want to create friction of just having deleted his comment. So I'm not looking for friction, really, is my point. If you are watching this, just know that I have a tremendous amount of respect for you. It was a lesson for me. And I will do my best to fall someplace in the middle. And that's my story.
That's awesome. I'm really glad you shared that. And it's so funny. I don't have a word to say about Facebook. Listen,
yeah, because it's not about Facebook.
Everybody knows what it is, at the end of the day. You either are on it or you're not. You like it or you don't. And none of that really matters. It's just more duality. So I am going to take the conversation to where, ultimately that story landed you. And and for those of you who don't know, I am a spirit plant facilitator. This is very much my calling, very much my passion, very much my work. But at the beginning of this year, I found myself in an interesting position where I needed a job. I needed some income on paper. So this perfectly aligns with what you just shared. Yeah. And part of me, I know you've kind of heard this, but I do want to bring it up because same story, different day, different mirror. At the end of the day, I firmly believe there are no others. Separation is the primal wound of our species, and it is from whence the myriad spectrum of dysfunction, disorder, and discontent arises. So when I resolve that division, when I reconnect to my wetness, to the primal energy, everything's in harmony. I have lived that life. I am surrounded by magical unicorns, Exhibit B. So I had to go out into the real world at the beginning of the year, and I wound up working at, and they shall remain nameless, but it was a very popular multinational gym franchise. Okay? So I was a greeter, I was an equipment cleaner, I was just like the all-around sunshine and butterflies.
You were the phone on the treadmill lady.
I was, yes, I was the lady telling you to, I'm going to get to that.
Okay,
so I walked in there every day with my normal persona, right? I am love, I am light, I am source energy. It's my job to show up in the world as that.
Coming from your unicorn bubble.
From my unicorn bubble, of course. Like everything's roses and butterflies all the fucking time. Even if it isn't, I understand that everything happens for me. Nothing happens to me. So I do live with this sense of like, all is well, all is well, all is well. And I'm grateful for that. I'm not sitting here bragging. I'm not saying you should live that way. I'm saying ultimately when division is cured, when the separation is healed, nirvana pops up. And that's where I live, right? So with my unicorn bubble people, I live this life until I walk into the gym, and I have all the intention in the world to show up every day at the gym on my 8-7 hour shift as love, as light, as just the sunshine that maybe you didn't get anywhere else in your day, except part of my job is we have to enforce the rules that are explained to everybody when you sign up for a gym membership. So if you're on the cell phone on the workout floor and I have to approach you and apologize and, hey, I'm so sorry to interrupt your workout, and I really feel bad, but I don't know if you remember that there's a rule about being on the cell phone on the floor, and this is literally how I would approach people, and like have the F-bomb rain down on me. Now, I'm no virgin. I can say fuck like the rest of them, and I use it frequently in my language because it's a great word, and it has its appropriate meaning. Sure. But at the end of the day, when I'm approaching you in humility, with no malice, with not a shred of like power play. I'm not trying to ruin your day. I'm simply trying to enforce a rule that is in place for the betterment and the enjoyment of the atmosphere so that everybody can be comfortable, everybody can do what they need to do. And you whip your head around 3 times, pea soup comes flying out of your mouth, and you want to tell me to go fuck myself. I hadn't experienced that in a really long time. I hadn't been out in the world. I had been my own business owner. Then I stepped into this magical path of sharing Spirit Plant with the world. And I live in this beautiful,
like-minded people,
light bubble. I literally live in that. And even when I have to engage the world and what people consider catastrophe or trauma, like I still engage that from that space of all is well, all is well, all is well. What's happening for me, not happening to me. And I understand, I have faith in the way things are. Like I have faith in the way things are, that they are that way. So yes, I agreed that in that moment, it was necessary for you to like rain down F-bombs on me because I asked you to do something you agreed to do when you joined the gym. But I hadn't experienced that in a really long time. And it did hurt my feelings for that person. Like I would look at that person and go, wow, I remember being her. And I was her. Trust me, type A, high achiever, eat or be eaten in Western medicine for 30 years, definitely got where I needed to go, clawed my way to the top, stayed there for a while, realized it was better to be a cog in the wheel, climbed back down that ladder, on my way into this whole other life where I had my own business, and then I ultimately wound up doing what I do now. But I've been that person, and I know the misery. I know the anger in that human that is just looking for the fight. It's like they have a scratch that they can't itch on their own. So when you show up and you're the empty canvas and they can paint their picture of discontent and dis-ease on you, it's game on. And I don't live in that world. I know you don't live in that world, but we do live in that world because from time to time we will encounter these scenarios, these mirrors. So what I learned in my reflection of the mirror with the person that wanted to like vomit pea soup on me about asking them to follow a rule was, this world needs Spirit Plant. I quit that fucking gym 2 months in because I was like, all right, I learned my lesson. I realized the world is in pain. The world is hurting. And what I do is so necessary. Like bring the medicine to the people. Like I just got a more profound call to go back, dig in, and really put myself out there. I would never talk about what I did on social media. I don't even have social media.
Huge.
That we are even having these conversations, that I introduce myself as a Spirit Plant facilitator. I have to be very careful. I take my freedom in my hands. This is a very, very tricky terrain in our society. We're just on the cusp of understanding what these natural molecules that already exist in us are here to do. So the tide is changing, but it hasn't changed enough that I don't risk my freedom when I do what I do. So having said all that, I totally get your guy. I totally get your response to the guy. I've been there. But at the end of the day, we do live in the world of people who are hurting, people who are looking for the fight. And our job is to bring love to that. And the fact that you can, it shows tremendous growth. The fact that I'm not the one that then will, like, because I'm from Philly, I know how to scrap.
Jersey.
Yeah, you want to call me out? Like, you'd have got to kick you in your neck and walked
God.
away and cashed a check.
You weren't even going to finish your sentence.
Right. Like my mom said, you'd be picking your teeth up off the ground. And to just look at that person and have such a heart that, they're suffering so deeply that, like, that's their first response to a person who, with humility, just walks up and asks them to do what they've agreed to do. So anyway, that's the lesson. Like, let's be kind. Let's remember that people are hurting. Let's know that we've all been there. Anybody can have a bad day. And at the end of the day, this is going to sound hard. And again, don't be offended unless you need to be. You're not my concern. I go home with me. I sleep with me. So if you're hurting, I'm sorry. I'm here. I don't have the answer. I have my answer. And when I live in my answer, if that helps somebody else, that's amazing. But yeah, I so appreciate you bringing that up because that was my whole 2-month gym experience, like in a nutshell.
Yeah,
no,
I remember.
I had to go to work for 2 months. Punch a clock, which I swore I'd never do again. It needed to happen. You got it in like 2 days. I got it in 2 months. So high five, sister. Good for you for efficiency and efficacy. I love it.
I want to share a little pearl from St. Rob, my husband.
Yeah, St. Rob.
Thank God he's still alive. See? Cheers to me for
Yes,
controlling my temper.
progress, baby.
But when I was in the final years of my job in the high school, remember 25 years in education, I ended my career as the person who handled all the discipline, handled all the students with learning disabilities, helped the teachers in order to navigate the classes with the students. It was a lot. Again, it was a lot of swimming up the river. And I had to send a lot of emails to administration and a lot of emails to parents about students, what I believed they needed in order to be more successful, whether it be, like I said, for an accommodation of sorts, or whether it be disciplinary, holding kids accountable. I mean, I'm all about accountability. And I would get a lot of pushback. So I would say, oh, yeah, Johnny was whatever, held accountable for blah, blah, and got, suspended for blah, blah, or whatever. And I would get these venomous emails from these parents. And again, very like, oh, and my, right? It was kind of like that was the tone. And I always felt that I had to respond in kind. And I always did, because I could easily match that. I could match the venom in the tone. I could match the language. I could match the sentence structure. And, and I took pride in my ability to do that. So I do understand this guy, because there is this, look at how I'm expressing myself, and I am showing you. And I remember Rob stepped in the picture, and like I said, in the last couple of years of that career. And I remember he would see me on the computer at night, and I'm like, or with the administration, I'm fighting for a kid, and I'm all, and he's like, you don't even have to respond to that. If you tell the parents that the kid is suspended, and they and why, and the logistics, and they give you this long, just respond. Okay, I'll see him Tuesday. Or he'll just respond with, the teachers will send homework. Just or don't respond, but you don't have. And I was like, wait a minute. Again, from Jersey.
Yeah.
You don't have to show up for a fight. What do you mean?
Yeah.
What do you mean? And
it's a cool lesson to learn.
Yeah, and I remember Oprah said many years ago, I heard her say, she goes, I don't argue with people. I'm just like, I'm sorry you feel that way.
Yeah.
You can't really argue with that. Or that. Oh no, that was not Oprah. That was something else. Oprah was, that doesn't work for me. Yeah. So you can't argue with that doesn't work for you. Right. But I always thought that I'm losing if I don't fight. But the reality is, would I rather be right or be happy? And when I adopted the latter, I realized I don't have to fight anymore. My whole life was a fight. Everything about it. I put my pants on, it was a fight.
We're twins, by the way. I know we don't look alike, but we're like twins separated at birth.
And so I'm like, I don't have to fight. So I just want to say to people that I get all the different phases of Facebook, and I get, because I'm all of those things. Maybe I'm not, maybe some of them are dormant, maybe some of them I put to rest, but I have been, or am, all of the motives that people wind up doing, saying things on Facebook. So I understand all of it. I understand where it comes from. But this place of not feeling like you have to fight, I get why people are fearful. I'm not diminishing that. I get the concerns. I get that some people are affected far more greatly than I am by this. I mean, I haven't mentioned once that my business is completely in the shitter. That from from the beginning of March to now, it completely stopped. But I'm not like, okay, so I'm going to adapt, and it'll get better when it gets better. And if I go months without electricity, okay, I could miss a meal for sure. Anyway, once again, off the rails. You're supposed to just me when I do that. But the point I'm trying to make is, I get all of the feelings, the motivations, and all that, and I'm not trying to diminish any of that. We're all having our own experiences. But my experience is to live in peace. And that's why I respond to the world the way I do. And nothing more, nothing less. All in great respect for the world around me. So thank you for listening to me. Thank you for listening to me.
Thank you for bringing that to all of us. Thank you for letting me share. And we just so appreciate those of you who chime in and check in. We appreciate it very much. And we'll see you again next time on the Love Seat.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.